It starts with a feeling, a gentle, almost imperceptible pressure on your arm, your leg, maybe even your face. You open your eyes, and there they are, your cat, sound asleep, one paw stretched out, resting perfectly on you. You might think, how cute, and move on with your day. But that small, quiet gesture is carrying more weight than you'd ever guess. It's not a habit, it's not an accident. It's your cat telling you something they can't say out loud. And once you understand what that paw is really saying, you'll never look at it the same way again. Let's start with the one that will hit closest to home. That paw resting on you is a sign of trust so deep it mirrors the bond a child forms with a parent. Cats aren't the aloof, independent creatures they're often made out to be. Underneath that reputation is an animal capable of real attachment, the kind where you, specifically, become their safe place in the world. When you're near, they relax. When you leave, something in them notices the absence. That paw on you, in a quiet moment of sleep, is your cat choosing to stay physically connected to the one place they feel safest. You are their anchor. Whether they realize it or not, that touch is them saying, I feel okay because you're here. If your cat also needs you, that slow, rhythmic pressing of their paws, you're seeing an even older piece of that same story. It's a leftover from kittenhood, from nursing against their mother. When a grown cat does it to you, they're not performing a random tick. They're placing you, without thinking twice, in the same category as the safest bond they ever knew. But not every paw is a quiet one. Sometimes it's insistent. A tap on your cheek at 5 in the morning, a paw pressing against the phone in your hand, again and again, until you finally look up. That's your cat reaching for you, not politely waiting to be noticed, actively asking, I need you right now. It might be food, it might be play, it might just be you, present and paying attention. Either way, they've learned that this specific gesture is the one that gets through to you. And sometimes that same paw tells you something harder to hear. You're mid-pet, everything feels good, and suddenly a stiff, firm paw presses against your hand. Stop. It isn't rejection, it's your cat, mid-overstimulation, trusting you enough to be honest instead of just enduring it. Listening to that, actually stopping, is its own quiet act of respect between the two of you. If this is changing how you see your own cat, hit subscribe. We break down what's really going on in their minds every week. And if you liked this one, a like and a share genuinely helps. It's what lets us keep making videos like this one. Now here's something most people never think about. You know how your cat rubs their cheek against your leg or the corner of a doorway? That's not idle affection, that's scent. And that paw resting on you belongs to the same quiet language. Cats carry scent glands in their paw pads. Every time they scratch or knead, they're leaving something of themselves behind. Even something as simple as a paw resting on you may work the same way, quietly mingling their scent with yours. It sounds small, but think about what it means. In a home with more than one cat, they'll rub against each other to build a shared, familiar scent, a kind of we belong together signature. When your cat does the same to you, even in the softest, sleepiest version of that gesture, they're doing the same thing. They're quietly writing you into their family. Not with words, with a paw. And a scent only they'll ever notice is there. And now, the one that means the most. I actually saw this play out with my own cat years ago. She used to sleep with both front paws stretched out in front of her, resting one paw on each of my 2 Chihuahuas, who slept curled up right in front of her. At the time, I just figured she wanted to know the second they started moving. I didn't think much more of it than that. Looking back now, I think she was telling me something. Cats spend most of their lives in a strange kind of contradiction. They need enormous amounts of sleep, 12 to 16 hours a day, but sleep is also when they're at their most defenseless. So they've evolved a workaround, a light, half-alert kind of rest, where their body relaxes, but some part of them is still listening. That's where the paw comes in. Their paw pads are full of nerve endings, sensitive enough to feel the smallest shift in movement. When your cat rests a paw on you while they sleep, they're not just touching you, they're staying connected to you so that some part of their body can stand down, so they don't have to be the only one keeping watch. It isn't that they're using you like a motion sensor, it's that your presence is what allows them to actually rest. They're handing you a piece of their vigilance, because somewhere along the way, they decided you were someone they could trust with it. And it's not only something that happens while you're both drifting off. Sometimes it happens in broad daylight, wide awake, and it means something slightly different in that moment. You're sitting on the couch, fully alert, maybe scrolling your phone or watching something, and your cat walks over, settles beside you, and deliberately places a paw on your leg or your hand. Not tapping, not asking for anything, just resting it there and staying. That's a different kind of message than the sleepy version. When a cat does this while fully awake and alert themselves, some behaviorists describe it as a kind of co-regulation, your cat syncing their calm to yours, or trying to borrow some of your steadiness for themselves. Cats are remarkably tuned in to the emotional tone of a room. If you're anxious, tense, distracted, some cats will actually seek out contact more, almost like they're checking in on you. It's the same instinct, really, just running in daylight instead of during sleep. The vulnerability is still there. The trust is still the point. They're just choosing to hand you a piece of it, while they're fully capable of doing anything else instead. So if you notice your cat doing this, not while napping, but in the middle of an ordinary afternoon, that's worth paying attention to. It might be the quietest, smallest version of your cat checking in on you, using the one tool they have that says more than any sound they could make. Now, if you've read all this and your own cat's never once put a paw on you like that, that doesn't mean you're being loved any less. Trust like this isn't universal, even between cats and the people they clearly love. Some cats form what researchers describe as a secure attachment to their caregiver, similar in structure to what's seen in human infants. But a real portion don't. Some show more of an anxious or avoidant attachment style instead. Not less love, just a different way of carrying it. A cat with an anxious attachment might follow you everywhere, meow the moment you leave the room, but never quite settle into that kind of physical, vulnerable contact. A cat with a more avoidant style might seem independent, almost standoffish, keeping their distance even while staying close by in the same room. Watching, present, just guarded. None of that means the bond isn't real. It might just mean trust shows up differently for that particular cat. A cat who spent their early life without much handling, or who came from uncertain circumstances before finding their way to you, might take longer to reach that fully relaxed, paw-on-you kind of trust. Some cats get there in weeks, some take years, some might never fully get there, and that's not a failure on your part or theirs. It's just who they are. So if your cat isn't a paw-on-you kind of cat, look for their version of it instead. The slow blink from across the room, the tail held high when you walk in, the spot they choose to nap that happens to be exactly where they can see you. Trust doesn't always look the same from the outside, but it's there in its own quiet way, whether or not a paw is ever part of it. So the next time that paw lands on your arm while you're both dozing off on the couch, don't just brush it off as cute. You're being trusted with something. You're being marked, quietly, as family. You might be getting asked for attention or gently told you've given enough. And in that stillest, most vulnerable version of it, you're being handed the one thing your cat's whole body is built to protect, their sense of safety. That paw isn't nothing. It's your cat's way of saying, without a single sound, I trust you to watch over me while I can't watch over myself. And if you've ever felt that little weight land on your arm and felt your own chest go warm and quiet in response, that's not a coincidence either. That's the bond, working both ways. If this changed the way you'll look at that paw next time, that's really the whole point of this channel. Subscribing costs nothing, but it's what lets us keep digging into what's actually going on in your cat's mind. And if this one got you, a like, a share, or even just a comment telling us what your own cat does genuinely helps more than you'd think. It's what lets us keep making videos like this one.